Hello and welcome to Fort George, Niagara National Historic Site, Parks Canada. My name is Peter Martin. I am the supervisor of Fort George, and I'm dressed as a major in the Royal Engineers, which is very appropriate because over 200 years ago it was a Royal Engineer by the name of Gautherman who actually designed and built Fort George. Now, Fort George wasn't the first fort built in the area. Fort Niagara across the river on what's now the American side was originally built in the early to mid 1700s by the French. It becomes a British fort after the French Indian War or the 7 Years' War, and later an American fort after the American Revolution. The British aren't given a lot of time to abandon Fort Niagara, so they move quickly across the Niagara into now British North America and build Fort George directly behind me. Now, people often ask us, what was so important? Why did they build so many forts in this area? The answer is the Niagara River. An American officer during the War of 1812 commented, "He who controls the Niagara controls the rest of Canada." Fort George, therefore, was the headquarters for the Center Division of the British Army in North America. So a very important place. Actually, about 30 feet behind me is the original burial place of Major General Sir Isaac Brock during the War of 1812. Now, Fort George was destroyed by the American Army during the War of 1812. It is rebuilt while the Americans are occupying the town of Niagara, and then left to ruin. The grounds were used as a base of operations for training for World War I, World War II, even the Korean War for Canadian troops. The fort itself, though, lay in ruins until the 1930s when it was rebuilt by the Niagara Parks Commission and later acquired by Parks Canada. Many of the buildings inside the fort today are the original buildings that were made in the 1930s, making them historical artifacts unto themselves. But the fort was looking a bit tired and was in some cases falling over. So Parks Canada, with the help of the Economic Action Plan, helped revitalize and stabilize Fort George. The bastions behind me, for example, have all been redone. They look brand new. Many of the buildings inside the fort have been resided, the roofs refinished. Our entire palisade fence line around the entire fort has been restabilized. So the fort now looks much like it did just prior to the War of 1812, brand new and ready for a fight. We are very excited for the bicentennial that's approaching next year. We're hoping that all of you will join us here for the celebration, celebrating 200 years of peace between our two great countries, Canada and the United States. And on behalf of Parks Canada, Fort George, and Niagara National Historic Sites, we hope to see you there.